Hello and welcome to the channel. Today we talk about UFC 271 and we already talked about some main fight of this card, and now we move from top to bottom to discuss the rest of the card, because this is a huge event and there is a lot of interesting fight on this card for me personally. First of all, of course, it's Bobby Green against Nasrat Haqparast. This is a great fight in the lightweight division, mostly because of Bobby Green, because I'm a huge fan of Bobby. He has a lot of charisma, and his style, how he realized this shoulder roll in MMA, nobody did that. Some people did that, of course, but they not rely on that as much as Bobby did. And his reflexes is good enough to implement this skill set effectively in MMA, pretty effectively, especially now in the late phase of his career, which was completely unexpected for me after a couple of losses that he had. But his performance against Rafael Fiziev was completely excellent, because if you try to do something like that against a guy who is striking and kicking with lightning speed and you survive all 3 rounds, it's pretty impressive. And his jab is lightning fast. So I'm a big fan of Bobby Green. I'm not saying that his style is very effective. Honestly, it's more fun to watch, but it doesn't work in reality. It doesn't work good in reality, because any fighter from top 10, top 15 will destroy him. And during the time that he reached that level of competition, they did exactly that. Because it's not a boxing, it is a small gloves, and he left a lot of opening in his striking department. But now he fight not a guy from top 10, he fought Nasrat Haqparast, who is very small for a lightweight. He's really small lightweight. But he's good, yeah. He has really good power. I think his power is on elite level for lightweight. Good speed, not an elite level, but good speed. Wrestling, no, wrestling department, he's not so good. So yeah. And I expect that this is a good opponent for Bobby, because his striking is not so polished, even if it's very hard punches, but it's not polished enough to catch Bobby Green. At least to give him a good probability of catch Bobby Green. So it gave us a lot of showmanship that Bobby Green can give. And if he not accurate, when Nasrat is land one of a punch, it will be enough to put Bobby Green to sleep, so it's funny as well for us as a fan. But of course, I am root for Bobby personally, definitely. Let's switch to a prelims, and it's a lot of fun too, because we have Andrei Pitbull Arlovsky, the former champion, who is 42, 43 for now, and he's still relevant. And this is crazy. He was a champion first time, I think, at 2004. And if we look at this generation of a heavyweight, I think he's only one who is still relevant. Maybe further in Bellator. No one else. And he's fought in a good level, yeah, and he has a lot of improvements. And this is take a lot of respect from me personally, because during his young age, he's rely only on his boxing skills, and he always have a good straight punches, very fast, especially for heavyweight, especially on this time, and he has a knockout power. And when he became older, he lose that. He lose the speed and lose his main route to victory, and he developed ours. He improved his head movement, improved his distance control, footwork, improved his wrestling, because now he can mix some takedowns. His work with American Top Team was really great in these aspects, I believe. And yeah, he's a greedy veteran. We grow up watching him fighting, so I remember when he was 5-4 fight losing streak, all knockouts, and those time I think, okay, Andre is a legend, but he's done. His career is over. And now 10 years later, and he still have a lot of wins in UFC. He was close to a title shot, etc., etc. So all respect to this veteran. If you talk about his opponent, Jared Vanderaa, I watched only few of his fights. and I didn't remember much of that. So basically, this fight is interesting for me because of Andre, and of course I root for him. And it's only a chance for Jared Vanderaa to make a name for himself, but not yet. So we will talk about Jared when he been able to make a name for himself. And of course, Roxana Modafferi and Casey O'Neill is also for me a very interesting fight. Because Roxana Modafferi is quite a character. If you look at her, we never believe that she can beat me, for example, easily. Maybe not so easily, but I believe he can wrestle out me easily. And he doesn't look like a great fighter, but she's not a great fighter. But if we measure her in a UFC, but she's a very, very good fighter, and all respect to her. I'm a big fan of Roxanne Modafferi and watch pretty much of all of her fights. And Casey O'Neill, she already makes some name for herself, and her few last performances was really good. And we doesn't have a lot of new names in this division, so it will be very interesting for me to see what she can do. And honestly, with all respect to Roxanne Modafferi, but she's not a person who not give you an opportunity to doing something. It's like if you're great, then Roxanne Modafferi is a type of opponent that give you opportunity to show your greatness, to show something good, to spectacular knockout if you want. So we'll see. It's a really interesting fight for me. And also, I'm really interested in William Knight against Maxim Grishin. Maxim Grishin is my countryman, and I watch him a lot, and he is really tough guy. He can take a lot of damage, good stamina, good boxing. So interesting to see. And William Knight is interesting prospect in light heavyweight. He is very muscle. It's always interesting to see it the guy who looks like a bodybuilder inside the octagon, because we all grow up in watching Hollywood blockbuster with big bodybuilders fights very well, and we expect something like that in the reality. It's not work like that completely, but it's always nice and interesting to see the guys with this type of power. And during his few last performances, I think he little bit improved his cardio. At least his cardio is enough to work in a good rate for 3 rounds. So William Knight is a very interesting person for me as well, and I really waiting for this fight. Of course, I agree with Max Grishin is a favorite, and I expect he will be dominate with striking exchange. And I don't think that William Knight has a wrestling to make it wrestling match. But I don't know. We both have everything, because Max Grishin can wrestle. Yeah, that's truth as well. We'll see. It's an interesting fight. And if we go down, even more down, we have one more very, very interesting fight for me, for my opinion. It is Alex Hernandez and Renato Moicano. I don't know why it's early prelims. I think it's quite unfair for these gentlemen, because they are on elite level. Alexander Fernandez, in his debut, he destroyed Benil Dariush, and it's a lot of value for that for him. And he has good wrestling. He like a Robert Whittaker of the lightweight. He move in and out, striking on the closing distance, very explosive, quite big for the division, quite strong. So I think he's underestimated for now. And Renato Moicano is completely elite fighter. He was in top 5 for 145 division featherweight, and he has a lot of skill. Yeah, he lost to Fiziev, but Fiziev is a specimen. His speed is off a charge. It's quite unfair. And if Rafael doesn't land a punch, and we can say that his striking is good enough that he's pretty sure that he's landed this punch, but there is no chance for Renato Moicano to avoid this first round knockout. Well, probably the jiu-jitsu of Renato Moicano was enough to destroy Rafael Fiziev. So this was just not his night, but he's good. His jiu-jitsu is on elite level, his wrestling is on very good level, and his striking is quite slow, in my opinion, but it's quite polished, yeah. It's at least straight punches in his arsenal, and he's especially for a guy who doesn't intend to strike, who used striking only to live long enough to go to his jiu-jitsu, basically. I think his striking is quite good, so this is a very interesting fight for me. Uh, and I agree that Renato Moicano is a favorite because he much better on the ground and on the feet. Yeah, on the feet he's not so good. I think Hernandez has an advantage on the feet. So maybe it is a much closer than odds show us, because odds give minus 170 for Renato Moicano, and I think it's closer because the chance for Hernandez is very good on the feet, and his wrestling, he can use his wrestling in reverse to avoid the ground game of Renato. But the slight edge to Renato, yes, that's fair. And this is very interesting fight. The last one that I'm gonna watch during this event. Maybe Sergey Morozov versus Douglas Silva de Andrade, because Sergey is my countryman and Douglas Silva de Andrade is a greedy veteran. We saw him for a long time. I remember he fought Petr Yan. But I don't know. From the stylistic point of view, it's not so interesting for me because I don't know much about both of these guys. So enjoy the fight. It is a great card that brings us a lot of good fight, top to bottom. Uh, Thank you for your attention, and I hope see you next time. Catch you later.